airport was crowded and noisy. People were shouting, hugging, and dragging bags everywhere. I held tightly to my father's hand as we waited near the arrivals gate. My mother was pacing, looking at the door every second. "They're here," someone shouted, and suddenly, everyone turned toward the door. That was when I saw them, my Uncle Femi, his wife, and their two children. They were pushing trolleys full of suitcases. My uncle looked so different, with his glasses and a shiny watch. My cousins wore matching clothes, and their shoes looked brand new. I heard one of them say, "This place is so hot," and I laughed quietly. We hadn't seen them in 6 years, not since they moved to Canada. My mother ran to hug my uncle, tears in her eyes. The rest of us stood back, unsure of what to do. When it was my turn to greet them, my cousin smiled and said, "Hi," in a way that sounded funny to me. On the drive back to the village, they asked a lot of questions. "Why are there so many people on the road? What's that smell? Is that a goat crossing the street?" I thought their questions were strange, but I didn't say anything. When we reached the house, it was like a festival. The whole family was there, cousins, aunties, uncles, and even neighbors. Everyone came to see the people from abroad. My mother had cooked everything you could imagine: jollof rice, pounded yam, fried chicken, and akara. My uncle kept saying, "Ah, I've missed this food," as he ate. That night, the power went out. My cousins looked scared at first, but we lit candles and gathered in the living room. My uncle told stories about life in Canada, how cold it was, how the snow fell, and how they celebrated Christmas there. My cousins showed us pictures of their school and friends. Then my grandmother started singing a Christmas song, and everyone joined in. Even my cousins, though their voices were quiet at first, began to sing louder. On Christmas morning, we all went to church. My cousins wore beautiful clothes my uncle had bought for them in Canada, but they couldn't stop looking at everyone else. The church was full, and the choir sang loudly. I could see the surprise on my cousins' faces when people danced during the service. After church, we ate together. My cousins tried suya for the first time and said it was too spicy, but they kept eating it. My uncle kept saying, "There's nothing like home." That evening, we sat outside under the stars. The air was cool, and the village was quiet except for the sound of crickets. My cousins seemed different now. They didn't ask as many questions, and they laughed at my jokes. I'll never forget that Christmas. It was the first time I realized that no matter how far someone goes, they always carry a piece of home in their heart. Family, food, and love, those things never change.